A metanarrative in critical theory, and particularly in postmodernism, is a narrative about narratives of historical meaning, experience or knowledge, which offers a society legitimation through the anticipated completion of a master idea. The term was brought into prominence by Jean-François Lyotard in 1984, with his claim that the postmodern was characterized precisely by a mistrust of the grand narratives that had formed an essential part of modernity. Post-structuralist skepticism toward metanarratives. In the postmodern condition, a report on knowledge, Lyotard highlights the increasing skepticism of the postmodern condition toward the totalizing nature of metanarratives and their reliance on some form of transcendent and universal truth. Simplifying to the extreme, I define postmodern as incredulity toward metanarratives. The narrative function is losing its functors, its great hero, its great dangers, its great voyages, its great goal. It is being dispersed in clouds of narrative language where, after the meta-narratives, can legitimacy reside. Jean-François Lyotard and other post-structuralist thinkers view this as a broadly positive development for a number of reasons. First, attempts to construct grand theories tend to unduly dismiss the naturally existing chaos and disorder of the universe, the power of the individual event. Second, as well as ignoring the heterogeneity or variety of human existence, meta-narratives are created and reinforced by power structures and are therefore untrustworthy. Replacing grand, universal narratives with small, local narratives, Lyotard proposed that meta-narratives should give way to petty acute CITs, or more modest and localized narratives, which can throw off the grand narrative by bringing into focus the singular event. Borrowing from the works of Wittgenstein and his theory of the models of discourse, Lyotard constructs his vision of a progressive politics, grounded in the cohabitation of a whole range of diverse and always locally legitimated language games. Postmodernists attempt to replace meta-narratives by focusing on specific local contexts as well as on the diversity of human experience. They argue for the existence of a multiplicity of theoretical standpoints, rather than for grand, all-encompassing theories. Narratology and communication. According to John Stevens and Robin McCallum, a metanarrative is a global or totalizing cultural narrative schema which orders and explains knowledge and experience, a story about a story, encompassing and explaining other little stories within conceptual models that make the stories into a whole. Postmodern narratives will often deliberately disturb the formulaic expectations such cultural codes provide, pointing thereby to a possible revision of the social code. In communication and strategic communication, a master narrative is a trans-historical narrative that is deeply embedded in a particular culture. A master narrative is therefore a particular type of narrative, which is defined as a coherent system of interrelated and sequentially organized stories that share a common rhetorical desire to resolve a conflict by establishing audience expectations according to the known trajectories of its literary and rhetorical form. The Consortium for Strategic Communication also maintains a website on master narratives. Criticism of Lyotard. It is unclear whether Lyotard is describing a global condition, skepticism towards meta-narratives in postmodernity, or prescribing such skepticism. His critics pointing out the awkward fact for a descriptive viewpoint that clearly meta-narratives continue to play a major role in the current world. Critics have also argued that, insofar as one of Lyotard's targets was science, he was mistaken in thinking science relies on a grand narrative for social and epistemic validation, rather than upon the accumulation of many lesser narrative successes.